Your rich friend's parents invite you to play at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Bow down to greet them. Leave your belongings outside before entering, and don't touch or ask about the price of the luxury cars. If you break an ornament in the living room, don't try to fix it. It's very likely they have security cameras all over the house. On the other hand, if you need something, ask the cleaning lady and never the parent, or else they'll get angry with you. But you're confused because there's too much cutlery during dinner. Remember, the bigger, the better. Use the small fork and knife for the appetizer and the large ones for the main course. Finally, never leave the room after midnight. It's very likely that you'll activate an alarm system and wake everyone up. People who can eat the same thing every day. In 2019, a man ate a yogurt that had expired about 6 months ago, and he liked it so much that he decided to eat only expired things for a year. The strangest thing is that he survived. Bear Scott has only been eating potato chips for 26 years. At every meal, on average, he eats about 6,000 bags of chips a year, and he says he feels sick just thinking about eating anything else. Finally, Kurt Gödel was so afraid of being poisoned that he only ate what his wife cooked. But one day she got sick and had to go to the hospital for several months, so he decided not to eat during that whole time, and he died of starvation. You suddenly travel back in time to ancient Rome. Do this to survive. First, if you try to live a normal life, everyone will realize you don't speak Latin and don't know how to behave like them. They would think you are crazy and would want to burn you at the stake. So you will choose someone from the crowd and challenge him to a duel to the death in the Colosseum. One day before the duel, you will grab a few ingredients and make a favorite food recipe. Easy, but extremely tasty for that time. When the time comes, you take out the dish and offer it to your rival. Since he will love the food, he will offer it to the boss. In this way, the Caesar will spare your life and you will be the new Caesar. You're going to the fair with the girl you like. Do this to impress her. If you go to the hammer game, hold it with both hands, and while swinging, slide your hand to the end of the handle. Your hit will be 200% stronger. At the darts, never throw in a straight line. Instead, throw higher to gain altitude, and you'll hit the target on your first try. Now, go to the haunted house even if you're scared. Stand in front of her and protect her. That way, she'll hold your hand the whole way. In mini basketball, never try to bank the ball. The balls have too much air and will fly out. Instead, throw the balls in an arc. You'll never miss again. At the duck game, aim slightly to the sides. The fair owners always bend the gun slightly so you won't aim well, and this way you'll always win. When you win enough tickets, go buy her a giant teddy bear and subscribe to Big Dan Baby. If you break a beehive, don't hide underwater. They'll wait for you to come up and sting you when you need to breathe. If a poisonous snake bites you, don't try to suck out the venom. You'll only spread it through the wound. If someone seems drunk but hasn't had any alcohol, ask them to smile. If their smile looks uneven, they're having a stroke. If you see square waves in the ocean, get away from the water. There's strong currents that can pull you under the sea. These are two foods invented by accident. First, French fries. In 1853, a chef was fed up with customers complaining about how he cooked the potatoes, so as revenge, he decided to cook them much more than usual. But the plan backfired because when he did it, people love how they turned out. Second, cheese. More than 4,000 years ago, an Arab merchant was carrying milk during a very long journey and decided that the best thing was to store it inside a goat's stomach. But with the heat and the liquids that stomach contained, the milk turned into cheese, and it became famous all over the world. Why do bathrooms have a gap under the door? When you go into a bathroom at school or a restaurant, it can feel really awkward because you feel like everyone is watching you. But these gaps are there for safety reasons. You see, if you ever need medical attention, the gap lets paramedics get in and save your life. It's also used to make sure no crimes are committed inside the bathroom. And finally, if the door ever gets stuck while you're inside, as gross as it might be, you can easily escape through the gap. Your poor friend's parents invite you to eat at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Wear poor people's clothes, put away your money and watch, and hide your iPhone 17 so no thief steals it. If the house is dirty or broken, don't say anything. Since they're a poor family, they don't have money to repair it. On the other hand, never spit out the food if it's disgusting. You have to eat it all, even if you don't like it. Try to talk with the whole family, but don't talk about your money or mention the new Ferrari your mother bought. If they are rude while eating, don't correct them. But above all, never ask why there is no dessert. Poor people don't have money for food. Finally, when you finished eating, help clear the table, wash the dishes, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby. The rarest allergies in the world. This boy is allergic to the cold. That makes it so that when he feels a cold breeze, he suddenly faints. He can't play in the snow. And the worst part is that he lives in Canada. Something even worse happens to this other girl. She's allergic to perfume. Every time she smells it, she gets dizzy, gets a headache, and it burns her lungs when she breathes. Tessa Hansen is allergic to the sea. One day she went on vacation to the beach. She came home with her body covered in itching and discovered she was allergic only to salt water. And finally, this cat hated its owner's boyfriends and would bite them if they touched her. One day, the cat became sick. After taking her to the vet, they realized the cat was allergic to human men. When McDonald's opened in Italy, everything went wrong because people thought it wasn't a real burger. That's why in 2015, they decided to open a secret restaurant with a totally different name. There they served the same food, but with a gourmet presentation, and people just loved it. Hundreds of people went and said it was the best burger they had ever tried in their life. After 3 days, they revealed that it was actually McDonald's. Today, they have over 600 restaurants in the country. How long would you survive if you only ate these foods? If you only ate hot sauce, you'd last only 5 days because your stomach would basically melt from the strong acid. If you only ate chocolate, you could last about 1 or 2 months. It has a few nutrients, but ironically, you'd die from malnutrition and severe diabetes. If you only ate instant noodles, you'd survive around a year. They have a ton of salt, which would turn your heart into a ticking time bomb. If you only ate chicken nuggets, you'd live around 15 years since the fried breading is full of bad cholesterol. But if you only ate Big Macs, you could last about 20 years because they actually have many nutrients, but not the best kind. Lastly, if you only ate pizza, you'd survive around 30 years, but it's just dough and greasy stuff, so you'd die really overweight. How long would you survive eating only these things? If you only drank Coca-Cola, you'd die in about 3 months. Since it's just sugar with sparkling water, your kidneys would fail, and then all your organs would follow. If you only ate carrots, you'd last only about a month and a half. First, your skin would turn orange, and you'd die super skinny from malnutrition. If you only ate French fries, you'd survive around 2 to 3 months. The lack of protein and vitamins would make you very weak, while all the fat and salt would overload your organs. And it'd be even worse if you only ate spicy fries. If you only ate ice cream, you'd live around 4 months. Some have fruit that would help a little, but the extra sugar would damage your heart. And finally, a girl once managed to live for a whole year eating only fruit because they have some vitamins and fiber. But in the end, the lack of protein and fat caused her serious malnutrition. How to survive a week-long blackout. Close the doors and put up barricades on the doors. There are many thieves who think it's the apocalypse and will want to attack you. Take the food out of the cupboard and put it in the fridge. Even if it doesn't work, it protects the food from bugs and germs. To light the house, use candles inside cans with holes. You'll have a mobile lamp and you can also cook on it. Prepare plastic buckets in all the windows to collect water when it rains. And if you have to go out, try to go armed and with supplies. If a criminal gang corners you, you could attack them or negotiate your freedom with food or water. If someone is trying to suffocate you with a pillow, turn your head to the side and you'll create a small gap to breathe. If you're kidnapped and locked in a car trunk, disconnect the brake light wire so the police can stop the car and kick the trunk to make noise and get attention. Even without signal in your phone, you can still call 911. Your phone will connect to the nearest tower in an emergency. If you come across a pack of wolves, do not move. They'll only attack if they scare you and you run away. Even if you're dying of thirst, never eat large amounts of snow. If your stomach freezes, you could die of hypothermia. First melt the snow and then drink carefully. Are you a psychopath? Let's put it to the test. If you answer the next question correctly, you're a psychopath. It's Christmas, and Santa brings a child 2 gifts, a soccer ball and a bicycle. The child looks at Santa and starts crying. Why? A normal person might say the child didn't like the presents, or that he wanted more gifts, but the answer a psychopath might give is, the child has no legs. You are selling bottles of water for $2 each, but your neighbor has set up a store next door and started selling for $1 each bottle. All the customers are only buying from him, but you need to make money. You could wait until he goes to the toilet and destroy his stand, but you could end up going to jail. You could also lower the prices to 90 cents, but each bottle of water cost you 95 cents, so you would end up losing money. Your best option is to buy all of his bottles for $1. Your neighbor closes the stand because he has no more bottles, but you raise the price to $5 each and you become a millionaire. If you walk alone through the city at night, make a crazy face and talk to yourself in Russian. Everyone will think you're crazy and no one will attack you. If your boyfriend is a vampire, don't even think about eating garlic. When you kiss, he could die because vampires are allergic to garlic. If you have a pet you rescued from the street, don't you dare bathe it. Water will remind it of rain and the cold of the streets, and it won't hesitate to attack you. If you're in a boat, lost at sea with a friend, tell him you saw something shocking in the water. Take the chance to push him and make a run for it. You'll have twice the food and one less friend. You fall asleep on an IKEA sofa and the store closes. Do this to survive. Avoid the cashier areas and employee offices. That's where most of the cameras are, and they'll think you broke in to steal. If you get hungry, go to the food area. There's a lot of food that's impossible to eat, but there are also hundreds of sandwiches that you don't have to cook. If you get cold, go to the blanket section and put them all on, even though you'll look like a Viking. If you get bored, you can go to the video game area and play until you get tired. But if you hear strange noises, don't make any sound. A little girl died in IKEA and her ghost still haunts the place. You're afraid to sleep alone and the beds are awful. Build a fort with the boxes between the aisles so the employees won't bother you the next morning. Would you rather to be afraid of the dark or your own reflection? I would rather be afraid of my own reflection because any light would create a shadow that would scare me. And besides, I would not rather see my ugly reflection. Would you rather have infinite wishes or a lot of good luck? I would rather have a lot of good luck, as I might accidentally destroy the world by making wishes. And if I have good luck, I'll always end up winning. Would you rather fight against the aliens or against the demons? I would rather fight the demons because the aliens will surely have weapons that would eliminate us in a few seconds. Would you rather be able to run super fast but only in circles, or be invisible but only when you close your eyes? To be honest, I'm not totally sure, but subscribe to Big Dan Baby. If you find oil in your backyard, can you keep it? Even though the oil is on your land, it doesn't mean you're automatically rich, because depending on where you live, you might only own the surface of the land and not what's beneath it. But then, who does the oil belong to? It might belong to a company, although normally it tends to be government property. But even if the oil does belong to you, there are laws about how and when you can extract it depending on the country. In Dubai, you can take the oil without any problem, but in the United States, there are stricter environmental laws. If your country lets you dig, you have three options: lease it to a company that will keep a share of the oil, sell the land and earn millions of dollars, or take a risk and extract the oil yourself. If you find money in another country, can you keep it? In Japan, if you return lost money to the police, you're given 10% of the money as a reward if the owner shows up. Although many people in Japan never accept the reward out of honesty, the owner of the money usually shows gratitude with a homemade gift or a sweet treat. But in Germany, whoever finds lost money has the right to the Finder loan. 5% of the money on the first $500 and 3% of the rest when the owner claims the money. But what if no one claims the money? In many countries, if the owner doesn't claim the money, the person who finds it can keep it. But if neither the owner nor the finder claims it, countries like the United States have a law called bona vacantea, meaning the money is kept by the government, the politicians, and the president. Your poor friend's parents invite you to have dinner at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Wear simple clothes, put away your fancy stuff, and hide your iPhone so it doesn't get stolen before you arrive. If the house is in bad shape, don't say anything. It's very likely they don't have money to fix it. On the other hand, don't say anything bad about the food. You have to eat it all, even if you don't like it. Try to join the conversations, but don't make jokes about money or mention your dad's new car. If they make noise while eating, don't correct them. But most importantly, never ask why there's no dessert, because that would be rude. Finally, when you finish eating, help clear the table and wash the dishes, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby. If you're being bullied and they always steal your food, put laxatives inside the food. They'll have bad diarrhea and won't steal from you again. If you're an idiot and you fall asleep on the bus, hug your backpack while you sleep. Thieves won't be able to rob you. If you go into dangerous neighborhood, don't look at or greet anyone. Criminals will think you're looking for trouble and they'll kill you. If the power goes out in your neighborhood, don't turn on the faucet. It's very likely that a cable has broken and you could die from electrocution. If you're going to eat exotic food in another country, don't do it the day before your flight. You'll start vomiting on the plane and make a fool of yourself. If you have an online class, never join the video call without pants. You might forget you're only wearing underwear, and if you stand up, you'll look ridiculous. If your tongue gets stuck to a frozen surface, don't try to pull it off with force. Instead, just pour a little water over your tongue. If a poisonous snake bites you, ignore the pain and take several pictures of the snake. That way, the doctors will be able to identify the species and know which medicine to use. The greatest scam in history. This woman had never laughed once in her whole life. The best comedians in history tried to make her laugh, but it was useless. In 1907, a theater in New York offered $1,000 to anyone who could make her laugh. For several months, a lot of people tried their best jokes and gags, but no one succeeded. The best comedians in the world started going to that theater, and thousands of people came every day to see if anyone could do it. This went on for years, but everyone eventually gave up until someone discovered the truth. The woman had facial paralysis and couldn't laugh even if she wanted to. It had all been a strategy by the theater to get the best comedians in the world to perform in the theater for free. These are the kindest criminals in the world. A man entered a house to steal the lawnmower, but when he saw that the yard was a mess, he decided to help and mow it. While he was finishing the back part, the owner of the house woke up and called the police. The thief managed to escape, and the owner, upon seeing that his lawn had been mowed, refused to file the report. In England, a thief entered an old woman's house to take luxury items, but upon entering, he realized that she was actually very poor. He felt so much pity that he left a note on the table with money and a message. "You need this money more than me." If you are poor and need money, get a box with the Mr. Beast logo and put a rock inside. Now, go to a shopping mall while a friend starts filming you with a phone and ask if anyone wants the mystery box in exchange for $5. Everyone will think it's a Mr. Beast video and that the box has $1 million, but they'll only get a rock and you'll get $5. If you repeat this 20 times a day, you'll earn more than $5,000 a month. Celebrities with weird talent. Jenna Ortega can eat any kind of chili pepper without feeling pain. When she did a spicy food challenge, she added even more hot sauce and didn't feel a thing. Zendaya can bite ice cream without feeling any cold in her teeth. How lucky! Billie Eilish has a super weird talent. She can fit really big things in her mouth without any effort. That's crazy. Miley Cyrus can move her eyes just like a doll. And Katy Perry too. But she can also move her mouth like a frog. That's kinda creepy. Ariana Grande can imitate a baby's voice so well that it sounds like a real newborn. Justin Bieber can solve Rubik's Cubes in just a few seconds, and Jessie J can sing without opening her mouth. That's incredible. You suddenly travel back in time to ancient Rome. Do this to survive. First, if you try to live a normal life, everyone will realize you don't speak Latin and don't know how to behave like them. They would think you are crazy and would want to burn you at the stake. So you will choose someone from the crowd and challenge him to a duel to the death in the Colosseum. One day before the duel, you will grab a few ingredients and make a favorite food recipe. Easy, but extremely tasty for that time. When the time comes, you take out the dish and offer it to your rival. Since he will love the food, he will offer it to the boss. In this way, the Caesar will spare your life and you will be the new Caesar.
If you get off the subway but your backpack gets stuck in the door, don't waste time trying to pull it out. Focus on slipping out of the backpack or you'll be dragged to death. If you're at the movies and a thief is recording the film, don't yell at him. Instead, on your phone, show his seat number. That way, the thief's number will be recorded and the police can arrest him. If you're getting a haircut and feel a sneeze coming, be careful and don't move. If you make a sudden move, they could cut one of your ears. If you're buying a suit for your wedding, tell the salesperson that the suit is to work as a waiter and not for your wedding. It'll be cheaper because it isn't a wedding suit.
If you're lost in the mountain, look for plants and hide in a cave. If you start a fire, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you're going to school but you live in a dangerous neighborhood, put your book bag inside your shirt. Thieves will think you're fat and they won't rob you. If you're stupid and you're vegan, don't go to a barbecue with your friend. You won't be able to eat and you'll look ridiculous. If you're dying of thirst and find dirty water, look for bamboo sticks. If you filter the water through the hole of the canes, you'll have clean water.
If you live in a dangerous neighborhood, wear poor-looking clothes that are as dirty as possible. You will make the thieves pity you, and they won't rob you. If someone is looking at your phone, open the front camera. The nosy guy will see himself on the screen and will look ridiculous. If a murderer enters your house, turn off the lights and put a couple of pillows under the blanket. The murderer will think that you're sleeping, and you will catch him. If you see that your car has a broken window, don't go in and call the police. There is a homeless person living inside your car. If someone throws eggs at your windshield at night, don't use the wipers and just keep driving. This is a trick used by criminals to confuse drivers. If you're at the beach and the water suddenly recedes, run away and look for high ground as fast as possible. This is a clear sign that a tsunami is coming. If your house is haunted, start charging the ghost a really high rent. It will run out of money and will have to move to a cheaper place. If a bear attacks you in the middle of the forest, start dancing and clapping. The bear will get confused and think it is a circus show.
If you're moving into a very tall building, never live above the 20th floor. If there's a fire in the building, the 20th floor is the highest that firefighters' ladders can reach and they won't come up. If you're getting robbed and the thief has a very big belly, don't try to defend yourself. He is hiding a little person inside his belly that'll attack you. If you're at the gym and run out of strength to lift the bar off you, just tilt the bar to one side so that the discs fall on the floor. If you're on the street and there's a violent fight, don't try to break it up or they will beat you up bad. Instead, call the police and enjoy.
You get to your first date with the one girl you like. Do this so you do not look ridiculous. Turn off your mobile. Don't put your elbows on top of the table and say a nice compliment looking into her eyes to break the ice. However, you're very confused because you don't know what to talk about. Remember, the important one is her, not you. Ask her about all her hobbies. Try hard to make her laugh. But above all, never talk about your ex-girlfriends because then she will beat you up very badly. On the other hand, avoid eating difficult dishes that can stain your clothes and chew with your mouth closed without making sound. If you drink soup, remember that the spoon goes to your mouth and not the mouth to the spoon. Finally, when the waiter comes and brings the bill, take out your wallet, pay for her meal, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
Your best friend calls you in the middle of the night. She's crying because she thinks she's going to fail tomorrow's test. This is what you do. You tell her to stop crying and take a pencil, a piece of paper, and her notes. Now she won't just read them over and over again. Instead, she's going to copy the notes of the hardest lessons, leaving some blank spaces in between. 30 minutes later, she needs to pick a red pen, and she will try to complete the whole sheet without checking her notes. You tell her to go over the notes that she forgot and to subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
Unethical ways to make money. Search on Google for old folk homes with dementia and apply for an assistant job. When you get hired, do your tasks like bringing their food, putting on movies and giving them their medicine. But at the end of the day, you have to create a video with artificial intelligence where you and one of the old people with Alzheimer's do things together, like celebrating birthdays, going fishing, or even crying together at a fake family member's funeral. Since the elderly don't know what AI is, they'll think that you're their nephew. If you show them these videos every day, they'll end up including you in their will, and when they die, you'll inherit all their money.
A man was quickly sucked up by a giant dryer and he became stuck. He was working for an industrial laundry, and the man, while trying to unclog the path that transports clothes to the machine, climbed up to press the stuck clothes and push them through. But he got tangled with a sleeve of a t-shirt, and no one could hear his terrifying screams for help. The temperature rose to over 300 degrees Celsius, and 20 minutes later, his co-workers found his body on the floor.
3 ships, armed with over 80 cannons, aimed at a military port. The captain had hostages to trade for medicine for his crew, but Blackbeard was so feared that he didn't even have to fight. It was said that he set his hair on fire to look like a demon covered in smoke, and sometimes he even challenged his crew to mix gunpowder into their drinks. And even though many of his sailors had various illnesses, he always treated them with respect. In his final battle, he fought against an army sent to kill him. It took 12 stab wounds and 5 gunshots to take him down. His head was cut off and placed on the front of the enemy ship, and they fired at his ship until it sank into the deep sea.
If you removed your lungs and drained all the blood and oxygen from inside them, many people believe that the contents would cover the surface of a tennis court completely. This fun fact has become very popular over the last few years, but in actuality, all of the matter in your lungs would only cover 100 square meters, and the actual size of a tennis court is 210 square meters. So therefore, your lungs would only cover a little less than half of the tennis court. If you're stuck in a free-falling elevator, most people think that if you jump right before it hits the ground, that it would save your life. But is that really true? Look, if an elevator is falling straight down, synchronizing the jump perfectly is pretty much impossible. The best thing you can do is to lie on your back in an X shape to distribute the force of the impact evenly across your whole body.
How to avoid being asked a question in class if you don't know the answer. What you're not going to do is avoid direct eye contact with the teacher. If you look out the window, he will think you are distracted and will ask you. Instead, act like you are busy writing on a paper or reading your own notes, so the teacher will think that you are engaged with the subject, but you are not available to answer at the moment.
You get to your first day of class, but the teacher doesn't like you. Do this to become his favorite student. Try asking questions about the subject, but be careful, you also don't want to be the annoying one in class. But there's a problem. You forgot to do your homework because you were playing on your phone. If the teacher asks you to correct it on the board, do not say that your dog ate it. Instead, apologize in front of the whole class. A teacher really hates dishonest students. But above all, never use your phone in the middle of the class, since it's very disrespectful. On the other hand, you'll want to talk to him outside of class so he sees you're very interested in his subject. Say hi in the hallways, ask questions during break, and tell him a joke to earn his trust. Finally, after class, ask him a question using Gmail. Don't forget to do your homework, and subscribe to Big Damn Baby.
You get to your first day at school and you have no friends. Do this so you can be the popular in your class. Try to make your classmates laugh loud, but be careful since you don't want to be the clown of the class. However, there is a problem. The classmates don't know your name. When the teacher asks a question, get up first and solve the exercise on the blackboard. If you say your name in front of the whole class, no one will forget. On the other hand, you also want to know some things about them so that no one sees you like some stranger. During the recess, go quickly and try to talk with everyone, with the cools, the geeks, the class clowns. Finally, after your classes, sign up for all the extracurricular activities. Real friends are made both in and out of school.
In 2001, a thief got completely stuck in a chimney while he was trying to rob a house, and the homeowner, unaware there was someone inside, lit a big fire. The chimney quickly filled with black smoke and extreme heat, and the thief began to scream and call for help. But the fire and smoke had grown so intense that they drowned out his cries. When the firefighters arrived at the scene of the crime, they discovered the lifeless body of the thief inside the chimney. If you're cheating on a test and you accidentally make eye contact with the teacher, don't try to play it off by pretending you're thinking. The teacher will suspect you and you'll look ridiculous. If something gets stabbed into your body, don't try to pull it out of the wound. That will only make you lose more blood. Instead, cover the hole with your clothes and run to the hospital. If you get a raise at work, don't tell your co-workers how much you're making. They'll think it's unfair and might try to get you fired. If you're going to sunbathe naked in your backyard, make sure no neighbors are on their balconies. They might come out to look and get a disgusting surprise. If you're walking down the street and a thief tries to rob you, act crazy and shout words in Chinese very loudly. If the thief thinks you're mentally unstable, he'll get scared to death. If you're in a casino and win a lot of money, get out of there fast. It's a trick casinos use to keep you playing until you lose all your money. If you're rich, never take designer clothes to a laundromat. It's very likely that criminals are hiding there to rob you. If you're eating something sweet but taste something sour, run to the doctor immediately. You've eaten poisoned bacteria and you'll die. If you're playing video games but your controller's batteries die, put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. The cold boosts 100% of the energy and you'll be able to keep playing. If World War III eventually starts, learn to say "I surrender" in Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. If the enemies capture you, they'll understand what you're saying before shooting you. If you're abducted by aliens, tighten your belt on your pants as much as you can. When they examine your body, they'll think your pants are a part of your skin and they won't do weird experiments on you. If you're kidnapped and they lock you in the trunk of a car, look for a plastic lever that's shiny. By law, all cars have a handle to open the trunk from the inside. A woman stepped into the street and began to dance like crazy. She danced for days without stopping, and other people started to join her. Over 50 people were possessed with the dancing fever. The dancers moved with such intensity that some actually collapsed from exhaustion. A few people even died from sudden heart attacks and severe strokes. The police were baffled, believing it was a curse or divine punishment. Now, they tried to cure the dancers by encouraging them to dance more, as they thought that it would expel the madness. But it only made the situation worse, and the dancers continued for a month before mysteriously they stopped dancing. A school bus skidded off the road during a heavy snowstorm, plunging over 10 meters down into a lake. It stopped halfway underwater with the front part already submerged. 6 passengers tried to escape through a broken window, but as they were escaping, the bus shifted. The change in balance caused it to sink completely, disappearing entirely with the driver and 15 students inside. Divers found the bus over 70 meters deep underwater, only managing to recover 5 bodies. The other 9 victims were never found and now rest in the depths of the cursed lake. If a bull starts chasing you, most people would try to run away, but bulls can run much faster than humans in a straight line. Instead, jump to one side to get out of the bull's path. If it keeps attacking, try running in a zigzag to confuse it. If you find a big object like a tree, use it as a shield between you and the bull. If it hits you with its horns, stay completely still on the ground without moving. Bulls usually chase movement, so consequently, playing dead can help the bull get bored of you. If you feel like you're about to faint, clench your fist tightly and squeeze hard. That forces blood to circulate through your body and you won't faint. Never try to repair a microwave by yourself. Even if it's unplugged, your microwave can still hold enough radiation to kill you. If you're at a party and the ice in your drink isn't floating, get out of there fast. Someone has spiked your drink and you're in danger. If you see black spots on the wall of your house, call the fire department. It's a toxic mold and the spores could kill you.